Finally, the heart and soul of the deck. Infernity Doom, one dark tuner plus one or more non-tuner monsters, means that you can summon it with within almost any card in the deck. A good thing to do is really when you have the combo out, you don't necessarily want to pull out Doom, but you'd rather pull out something like Stardust, and I'll get into the loop in a sec. But if you have, let's say, archfiend, you have beetle on the field, you send beetle, special summon the other two, sync with beetle, summon, and this is why I have this card in this deck, Flamvel or Akizus, out of the blue. Dark tuner, one non-tuner monster, and you have your Infernity Doom Dragon. So yes, Flamvel or Akizus is also in the deck. 200 eyes, I think I should get a third, but it's the loop, and I'll explain it in a sec. Red Dragon, Black Winged Dragon, Ancient Fairy Dragon, they're really there just to look pretty. They are never used, but you know, it's good to have some extra cards in your extra deck. Psychic Life Transfer, again, just there to look pretty, doesn't do anything. Gaia Knight as a second level 6 for the Infernity Doom summon with Beetle that I just explained. Stygian Sergeants, they get very little play, but they're really good in this deck. One Fiend type tuner, so that means Avenger. Goes with Archfiend. Syncs for this, doesn't require you to have no cards in your hand, so works great. And it attacks, then it gets another 800 attack, so with 2,200 attack, it becomes 3,000. It can attack again. So that's a great, you know, you attack Mystic Tomato, you attack the card they summon, with 3,000 attack, no less. And since it's a level 5, you can use 100 Eyes as effect, and then you get 100 Eyes that if it destroys a monster, it gets another 800 attack. So that puts it at 3,800 as the second hit. And then finally, thanks to Shonen Jump, Dark End Dragon, which is one tuner plus one or more non-tuner dark monsters. So the Infernity Beetle thing can't work for Dark End, but it still works great in the loop. For those of you who don't know about this infamous card, Dark End Dragon with 2,600 attack and 2,100 defense is once per turn you can have this card lose 500 attack and defense and send one monster your opponent controls to the graveyard, which means Stardust can't block it because it's just sending a card to the graveyard. Now, the loop is, I'll just clear this out. Loop is generally, now let's assume that you have your field cleared. Let's assume that you have some of these cards in your graveyard, but let's say you have Archfiend in your graveyard and you haven't used your, or even if you have used your normal summon. Actually, let's say you have these, there's a couple of ways to do the loop. Let's say you do this, where you have Archfiend and Avenger in the graveyard, summon Necromancer, special summon Archfiend, pull out Launcher, special summon Avenger, sync, you summon your 100 Eyes, remove from play Archfiend, special summon. Unfortunately, there's not much more you can actually go from there. It really depends on what you have in your hand. Let's say you play Monster Reborn and special summon. You really want to keep your Necromancers. You want to get a lot of them in the graveyard, I guess. It depends on how you work it. My original loop is to have Ultimate Offering on the field. You special summon Necromancer, you special summon you summon Necromancer, you special summon Archfiend. From your deck, you bring Avenger to your hand, pay the 500, summon Avenger, sync for 100 Eyes, remove Necromancer, special summon Archfiend, search for Necromancer, special summon Avenger, of course paying the 500 for Necromancer, special summon another 100 Eyes, Remove from play Necromancer, special summon Archfiend. Search for another Necromancer. paying the 500, especially summon the avenger in your graveyard. And then synchro summon. Now, before I was saying Doom Dragon, but Zardes is just the safe way to play. And it still gets you the 8,500 you might need to win the game. There's other ways to play it. It depends on what your situation is, but that's the basic way of doing it. I have done it with Launcher, Monster Reborn, Zero Max, and stuff. It really depends on what's in your graveyard and what's in your hand and what's on the field. So the basic loop is just to get 100 eyes out on the field and then summon a Stardust. But you're going to wind up at a point where you can't summon any more synchros with this deck, because Archfiend, unless you have Destroyer and Beetle, you can have a fourth one, but after that you are done with synchro summoning. Alright, this is the end of the video, and I'm on to make the next one. Hope you guys enjoy it. Comment if you have anything that you want to change or add on to, any ideas. We are open to criticism. Alright,